welcome back, everybody. You are still watching the Now Morning Show right here on TTT. We're in our number 2, and just before the break, Orocus was telling us about some books that we may have to read. So, 2020 has seen many first-time authors. We've already spoken to friend of the show, Daniel Francis, on his book, Millennial Mind. And today we speak to another entrepreneur and young author, Mr. Mika Castillo. Welcome to the show, and before we get to your book, you have been with us before, so let's get a little update. How have you been coping with COVID?
Saying good morning.
Good morning.
COVID has really worked within my favor because I really got time to finish writing something in between. A period in time where we all had to shut down, stay inside, and my creative juices even more. So I give thanks for COVID.
Really? Well, that's a different approach to it. But you know, the creatives, the ones who, authors like yourself and people who create music and such, they did use a lot of you use the time wisely and use it in such a way to actually create your work. So that is good news that you know, creatives like you were able to do that with the time. So we could see a lot of wonderful work coming out of it. So tell us a little bit about your new book. Tamika? Tamika, can you hear me?
Sorry, say that again.
I was just asking about your new book, if you could just give us a bit of a synopsis.
I've been through. It's experiences, but also of the lessons that my experiences has taught me. It's also that book where the reader could feel comfortable in knowing that the things that I have been through, they too have experienced these things. Sometimes we tend to feel like we are alone, and this book is a reminder of knowing that we are never truly alone.
So, you know, with that, you know, it's a little telling. It tells me that, you know, you would have gone through some things that you would have shared in the book. Are you willing to just give us a little bit of, you know, where the inspiration for it came from? What experiences did you go through to, that you translated and expressed in your book, in your work?
The father of my daughter 6 months ago to cancer, and me in between was one experiencing. I also talk about my battle with my depression. I also talk about the separation. I also talk about the fact that it took me a long time to identify who I am and what is my purpose. But I also talk about the fact that I am on a new path of becoming who I'm supposed to be. I talk about the struggle with self, the struggle with relationship with others, and it's things that we know we need to address, but we are afraid to address. And I did it.
All right, we're back, everybody, and we're going to continue that conversation with author Tamika Castillo. And we are speaking about her book, Something in Between. So before we went to the break, Tamika, you know, you were telling us about, you know, your journey, and you were telling us about some of the challenges you would have faced. And I want to start back on a stronger note in that, you know, going through all those challenges, you know, it would not have been easy, but as you rightly said, you made it through. So what are some of the things that you share in your book to help people who may be going through those similar challenges make it through their challenges as well?
One of the things that really worked for me was identifying my weak points. And this is something a lot of us are afraid to do. But when I began accepting who I am, what I am, that was the beginning of my process of understanding that I can heal from the things that I have been through. So I would say to everyone or anyone who is facing a time where they feel trapped or misunderstood, be okay with being okay with who you are.
Right.
It's scary, but it's worth it.
Now, a lot of people, when they are in something, they're in a situation and they don't know they can't see it, you know, objectively. They can't see it from the outside. You know, you said one of the things you learned is finding your weak points, and I don't think that's something easy to do. Do you share techniques in your book on how you like actually do that type of introspection and find your own weak points?
I did. One of the tips I shared was me writing down one thing that I don't like about myself. And my answer to that was I was seeking validation from others. And only when I saw the words in front of me is when I realized, like, hey, this needs to stop.
Right.
Then one of the other things I did was writing down one thing that I like about myself, which was the fact that I am ready to identify and walk in my purpose. So I believe in writing things down. I believe in giving life to our thoughts and our emotions. And when we start from there, the beginning of the journey, it begins, and you begin to realize, like, okay, I don't like this about myself. What are the ways, or what are some of the things I can do to change what I don't like about myself? So talking to yourself, being honest to yourself, it's one of the most beautiful, freeing things we could ever do for ourselves.
Right. You know, and aside from being an author and all the other work that you do, you're a mother. So what type
I
of
am.
legacy do you intend to leave for your daughter?
I want Unique, that's my daughter's name. I want when my name is mentioned, she has this strong sense of pride of knowing that's my mommy. This is why I see the need for giving life to a blank sheet of paper. This is why I see the need for telling of my experiences. This is why I see the need for listening to others, because most times all people really need is someone to listen to them. I want Unique to one day be proud of the fact that I lived my truth, I'm walking in my truth, and she could one day stand saying, that's my mommy, and she's very proud of me.
I'm sure she certainly will be. And speaking of the book, you know, who's this book targeted toward? Who's your target audience?
It's For me, it's 16 plus, and it's for anybody who struggles with their mental health. I'm very strong on mental health, and the book is set in such a way where I force you to constantly reevaluate who you are. I constantly force you to think about the people that you have around you. So anybody who wants to grow mentally, emotionally, this book is for you. Anybody who is comfortable with releasing their naked truth, this book is also for you.
All right. So anybody who wants to get it, that book is for them. But the question is, where can we get it? No.
So my handle on Instagram is Tamika Castillo. That's TAMEEKACASTILLO. You message me. I am very interactive with people who message me, and we can arrange, and I'll have the book delivered to them.
And before we go, you know, for persons, for mothers who may be struggling at this time with their purpose and finding balance, what advice or encouragement can you give them, you know, this morning? If you're speaking to that one person who wanted to hear that message, what would you say to them this morning?
That energy never lies. And I say that to say this: our children feed off of us. That's a fact. And if we keep saying that we want to provide our children with a healthy lifestyle, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, we need to fix ourselves first, because they feed off of us. And it's not easy being a mother. In my case, it's not easy being a single mother. But I keep in the back of my head that Unique depends on me. And to every mother who feels like giving up, to every mother who stands probably in the shower or sits in her car and cries to herself, I am here to tell you that I am also that mother. But I'm also that mother who understands that my daughter needs me. So in order to give her the best version of myself, I need to fix myself.
And with that, I want to thank you so much, and you know, just continue doing the good work that you're doing, because you know there are so many out there who are going through challenges, and you know they may not know where to turn. So a good
All
avenue
right.
may be your book, Something in Between. And I was chatting this morning with Tamika Castillo, who is the author,
Thank you
of
very
course.
much,
All right,
guys.
thank you so much.